go to the um, ways. So first we think about improved understanding and therapies, all those things. But bacteria, first we touch base with the basics. Bacteria can thrive almost anywhere, no problem. But a virus needs a living animal cellular machinery for its replication and survival. But how a virus evolves itself and do tricks to enter the body undetected is not fully understood by us as a human being. Whatever research laboratory or whatever you are talking about, nobody understood it. I quote some uh, recent, old statistics or recent, I don't know. Out of the COVID-19 virus, when it enters the bodies, the question is, why do some people die a horrific death while others have flu-like symptoms? And 20 to 50% become asymptomatic carriers. And why do some children, a few weeks after contracting COVID-19, suffer a hyperinflammatory attack and succumb to cardiovascular complications and toxic shock? First, we look at the, we don't have exact answer for that so far, but how the immune system works in us. Some people have very mild responses, but others die from explosive inflammatory attack, because it's a $500 billion question of pharmaceutical companies. It's market for pharmaceutical manufacturing. It's almost, it is from $64 billion, somewhere 54 billion. Now it may reach 500 billion soon. So what we are working on to get out of any pathogen or any epidemic or pandemic is, we want to invent new drugs to bolster a patient's defense to a pathogen, even for injury. It's a part of stress response mechanism, which originates from our belief that controlled by the brain and resides the intersection of the immune and inflammatory systems. This we want to create a defense mechanism. Billions of dollars are spent on developing vaccines. That we should not be complacent. We have to do that, no problem. Global importance of successful vaccine will not answer a related fundamental scientific question. So these vaccines we need, epidemics, pandemics have to be taken over by humans by controlling it, immune system. So is the vaccine a substitute for the need to increase scientific, do we need to increase the scientific funding for just to create vaccines for each and every time cycle comes like pandemic? It as a history, it's coming again and again. Whatever immune system, whatever serum, whatever we have now, it won't work. When the next pandemic comes, we have to invent new one. But more than that, okay, this is out of square thinking. Instead of wanting to specialize in each and every pandemic virus, we want to detect what the virus is doing, what We want to create an immune system for that, and we want to pathogen take care of the pathogen. That's why we are developing vaccines. But what we can do that can mitigate all these problems at a generic level. So what we want is big funding for not this is some problem comes, we want to address that, we spent a lot of billions of dollars on that, we forget about it, next problem comes. Instead, this can continue, but all these uh, pathogens, all these virus, what they do, we just think from that angle. What is the body mechanism? What is happening in the body when a virus takes over? So, uncontrolled inflammation, right? Did we increase our funding for suppressing or taking control of the inflammation? That is $1 billion question. If we divert our attention to that uncontrolled inflammation, probably this vaccination, creating vaccination part, that's about, I think that's about $100 billion industry. That that funding we may be less, but that's why they want to say this, they say we have to open up our mind to all kind of suggestions. If we increase the funding for uncontrolled, to blunt uncontrolled inflammation. Second thing is pulmonary and cardiovascular dysfunction, how to prevent. So the resulting factor for all these vaccines are uncontrolled inflammation, pulmonary cardiovascular dysfunction, coagulopathy. This is what now they are talking about. Some, the Britain and other EU, they say some coagul, so there some blood clot is coming, and so it's not because of the treatment or something that we are talking about. Generically, if we have a mechanism to blunt uncontrolled inflammation, prevent pulmonary and cardiovascular dysfunction, coagulopathy, and metabolic impairment. So, what results from all these virus activities or metabolic impairment? How to take care of? So, without thinking about this is this will be a side implementing side inventions we need. These portions didn't take off much because every time problem we address the problem, that's it, we forget about it. So I am trying to ground us to the ground level, go to the ground level and repair and put the pillars on, so that any pandemic comes may not have an effect on us. It will come and go. So the virus and pathogens can't take over the body mechanism. That is more and more within 10 years or 20 years, the immune system will be um, bolstered, and it will be very difficult for virus to enter our body. So thank you for, I mean, a different approach to what we are thinking. This pandemic is gone, and we want next pandemic. We should not be waiting for the vaccines. Rather, our developmental work on health, on these things I already talked, may will be very helpful in this context. It should be at least 2 or 3 times better functioning than that. and coagulopathy and metabolic impairment. For these basic things, all these systems can merge, or all these things can coexist and find a methodology where inflammation control is very easily achievable. uh, Whatever happened, whatever virus, whatever bacteria comes, inflammation is easily controllable on a long-term basis now, and without side effects, and prevent pulmonary and cardiovascular dysfunction. That's that will be without side effects as well. And coagulopathy, that should be without metabolic impairment. It should not have any side effect. So if we can find that, so we won't have the effects of any pandemics hereafter. Thank you for listening to me. Or your feedback is very important. Please um, come and